Hey, Michael J here. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody's staying safe, healthy. So, we're going to do a rebroadcast of Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. And the reason why we're doing that, I think you do not realize how important this is, and especially the metaverse and what its real purpose is. So, I'd like to explain. We're going through a very interesting point in time now, which is a defining moment in the history of mankind. And you may not understand that, so you can stay asleep. But just to give you a little perspective, you've heard of Atlantis. Well, this is very similar in time where we got a second opportunity to make the right decision or the more appropriate decision for mankind and the human being. And unfortunately, Atlantis, their decisions were not the best for human beings, and the city is now known as the lost city of Atlantis. So, what you do not realize is this is an opportunity to reclaim your original essence of who you are, which has been oppressed, subdued, and kept from you for actually many thousands of years. And you've been hoodwinked big time. You've been robbed of your true happiness. Should not be sadness. There should not be suffering. But you've allowed yourself, because you've fallen into a trap. And there's many reasons why, and I'll explain it later on, but there's a very simple solution at this point now. And that is holding love, peace, and harmony for all human beings on this planet in your heart. It doesn't take much. Just hold that thought in your heart, state it in your mind, or you can state it with words. Because I'm going to tell you, thoughts, words, and actions have a ripple effect. And just to give you a little bit of insight, recently, a scientist by the name of Nazim, he did an interview with Beth McDougall. He's going to have a white paper coming out in February of 2022, next month. Okay, and to give you some insights, not too long ago, he actually identified and found the Planck, and that is a smaller form of energy than the quark. And what you need to understand is his findings finally tie in science with spirituality. We're not talking religion here, because that's for another topic, because religion, the way it's been designed to trap you and rob you of your true destiny, the true essence of the magnificent being you really are. And you just don't know it. Hey, crap happens. You either wake up, and this is a time where you really need to wake up. You have the free will to do nothing and maybe transgress and spend 100 million more years in a deep sleep. You get another chance. You won't be forgotten. Or get proactive, act in love, peace, and harmony. Send love, peace, and harmony to all human beings on planet Earth. You can do it in your mind. If you're embarrassed to do it by saying it publicly, that's fine. You can stand anywhere in your house. You can be in the bathroom and just state it 3 times, and so it is. That's all it takes. But you have to act it out also. So everybody you meet, love, peace, and harmony radiate with sincerity from your heart, from your being. That's all it takes. So we're going to move into the video. Pay close attention to what is being said there. It may be hard to get your head around it. That's fine. You've been living under an illusion for a long, long time. Your mind illusory complex has been messed with. And it's about time you found out the truth and you woke up to the truth. So enjoy.
Today we gonna know about Mark Zuckerberg's role in Atlantis. Here's the lowdown on Mark Zuckerberg. He chose the negative polarity pathway when he incarnated on Maldek. Maldek was a planet that existed in our solar system between Mars and Jupiter but was blown up in a war between human species and reptilians which created the asteroid belt. He contributed to this war massively by producing artificial intelligence technology which created a massive divide amongst the civilization on Maldek which led to conflict, the same as what we are now experiencing on Earth today. The technology didn't end there, it was transported to Earth in the times of Atlantis tens of thousands of years ago where Mark later incarnated on Earth to carry on with his negative plans. If you think Atlantis didn't exist, I would encourage you to research the cataclysm of the Younger Dryas period 11,600 years ago, categorized by geologists as meltwater pulse 1b that wiped out the majority of our civilization on the Earth. Then look at Göbekli Tepe, which was discovered soon after the flood, and tell me how hunter-gatherers, but actually post-flood survivors who built and buried the knowledge prior to the flood, were able to make megalithic and sophisticated stone structures that held the information of prior advanced civilizations through the site's stone carvings. These included teachings of advanced astronomy, agriculture, harvesting cycles, and the foundations of how to restart civilization again. It was knowledge that was meant to be rediscovered again. On top of that, the pillars at the site, some of them weighed 50 tons. How could this site have been erected by manpower? It was done in fact by anti-gravity technology, which I will talk about in part 2, which was taught in Atlantis. Mark's incarnation on Earth was 45,000 years ago, about 30,000 years after the Igigi invasion led by Azazel/Marduk. Before we go into details about what Mark did on Earth, we need to understand history prior to his time on our planet. The Igigi had Alpha Draconian genetics, dragon blood, and after Marduk married Sarparnit, an Earthling hybrid, the Igigi slave workers on Mars wanted to marry earthly women too. Enlil, the god of the Old Testament, refused, as the plan on Earth was to create balanced beings through the union of the left and right brain, Christ consciousness. Christos/Sophia consciousness. This was done through blood, since consciousness is held through the waters of our blood. Enki, Pleiadian/Syrian hybrid, and Enlil, Syrian, used their blood/genetics A+, Pleiadian and left brain, and B+, Syrian and right brain, to combine with the O and Neanderthal to create perfectly balanced beings, Homo sapiens sapiens, hence the trinity of ABO. They were all and stable in mind, A+, body, O+, and spirit, B+, and this fusion was the basis for us to develop our chakras properly here on Earth. The Igigi were Rh negative, and by interbreeding with humans it would destroy the codes of Christ consciousness. They lacked empathy held in the Pleiadian A and blood, and thus, they were mentally imbalanced, selfish, and often sadistic/satanic. The Igigi rebelled with Marduk and started to pick partners as their earthly wives, which lead to hybrid giant races of demigods as a result of interbreeding in Baalbek, Lebanon. Marduk was labeled Satan, Baal in Baalbek, for siding and leading the Igigi. However, he is not Satan but instead Lucifer, who would later come back to try and put things right, the Lightbringer represented through the Statue of Liberty torch. However, this initial defiance created wars between Enlil and Marduk/Nephilim on Earth, where the Anunnaki Council agreed to nuke Marduk and the giants at the expense of many innocent human civilians. This story can be told in the Bible as the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Marduk was not killed but later imprisoned and then exiled to North America, but was labeled the scapegoat and hence one of the associations to Satanism and the goat. There are many reasons which I won't list here. It is complicated. Satan, however, was actually Atlantean Set, who encouraged 22 of the 200 Igigi to spread Satanism through humanity through his own temple of Set, where Satanism was founded on Earth. He can also be identified as Typhon, a spirit guide of Aleister Crowley, who would open up dark portals of the Kronzen from another dark universe called Abaddon, filled with destruction, hate, and AI. The interbreeding via the Satanic network spreading to humanity through enslavement and violence created an inverse in the chakras of the new hybrids of men and women, funneling a vortex of energy back to the black cube of Abaddon through reversal light coding in the DNA, reverse YWWH of the Klaputh. Rituals exist to this day to strengthen this vampiric drainage of human energy, such as the practice of Muslims who walk anti-clockwise around the Kaaba during the holy pilgrimage, creating a reverse vortex toroidal field. Set is attributed to Moloch or Nimrod, which means one who rebels, and the Canaanite, negative human hybrids, God. This satanic network blocked the 8th portal access in Orion, Akashic records, thus stopping us from remembering who we really are in our next incarnations. It blocked our life force, pituitary, hypothalamus, pineal gland, endocrine system, and kundalini energy from awakening to our truth, and submerged us into a low vibration far from our actual selves for thousands of years. The fire letters in our genetic codes got scrambled, and here we are today trying to ignite the fire again in our hearts and rediscover the presence of I Am. We are now winning and remembering who we are again, and so the satanic network are going all out to destroy the Pleiadian gene, A+, in an attempt to wipe out empathy from the earth. A and is also the biggest threat to Draconians as it overrides their genetics. This is why light wins over dark, because love is a stronger vibration than hate. This is also why the blue bloods only selectively breed. So going back to Mark Zuckerberg, after the planet had been submerged into a very low consciousness state from the various wars created from this initial divide of human genetics through contaminated crossbreeding, Mark's negative karma would allow him to incarnate on Earth as a low vibrational being, however not human at this time. His new form and body on Earth was gifted to him by the reptilians, and his life force was aligned with the reptilian consciousness. He was given the same mission on Earth as he was on Maldek. This was to divide people by technology and siphon through human energy to feed the reptilian sun machinery so they could open up new timelines and portals to new realities and trap human souls in an artificial web. Along with the contamination that came from Atlantis genetically, Mark helped stretch that divide further with his implementation of these AI technologies whilst we were still in turmoil as crumbling society. Meta is a similar device to what he created tens of thousands of years ago. Not only had humans strayed away from Christ consciousness in terms of blood balance, but also further distanced themselves from their true nature by giving up their life force energy to machines. Conflict spread outside of Atlantis and led to a huge war with the Lemurians too, who wanted peace but ultimately would not back down. The Anunnaki had seen enough and so sent down an asteroid to wipe the planet and start human civilization again through another ice age and bout of terraforming the Earth. Unfortunately, some of the Igigi and their infected human hybrid bloodlines managed to escape the global destruction by hiding in caverns and underground cities before re-emerging to the surface to create civilizations again for themselves. These service-to-self beings rewrote history through the corrupt priesthood, Brotherhood of the Snake, and began again as royalty bloodlines throughout the world, all in tribute to Babylon/Moloch. We are now waking up to this. The Tower of Babel, Babylon, was struck down because the people were corrupted by draconian genetics and were infecting the planet through satanic worship and negative vibrations. These bloodlines filtered through into the Jibarim, Rephaim, Al-Malakites, Anakim, and Nephilim, which are attacking humanity in a war of consciousness. Again, we are just realizing this now, even though it has been going on for thousands of years. 322, Skull and Bones Club. Genesis 3:22, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Genesis 32, Jacob's ladder, 10 Sephirot plus 22 paths equals 32 in Kabbalah Tree of Life. Colossians 3:22, slaves obey your earthly masters in everything. Plimpton 322, clay tablet of Babylonian mathematics, the square, Freemasonry. 322, 3 plus 2 plus 2 equals 7 number for the moon in Kabbalah, keeping our DNA dormant through the Saturn/moon matrix hijacking, 2 strand out of 12. 322, 22 Igigi that plummeted the world back into the third dimension. 3 plus 2 plus 2 equals 7 negative inverse chakras viaduct, the 7 deadly sins. Mark Zuckerberg's first human incarnation on Earth was in 1889. His name was Thomas Midgley, an American mechanical and chemical engineer. He has contracts with the reptilians to fulfill their negative technological and oppression agendas. At this time, Midgley's work contributed to harming the ozone layer of the Earth and the Earth itself. His next incarnation is his current one, born 1984, and is continuing his work to create a metaverse to entrap souls karmically and create a dystopia for the human race. In simple terms, DARP, a development agency that provides the military with technology, ended its lifelong project of collecting data on the population in February 2004. Coincidentally, Facebook, a data collecting platform, starts February 2004, run by this man. 17 years collecting data to teach their AI bots how humans behave so they know how to mind control us. Create a virus and use the media to ramp up fear. Blame it on China so they can justify war, but actually are working together. Babylonian satanic network. They want to replicate China's AI-controlled totalitarian society. Target the elderly first, to create the snowball of deaths and exaggerate figures. Now everyone in fear, create further campaigns spreading negativity to divide people. This drags down the vibration and the immune systems of people, as well as causing authorities to get involved for stricter control of the population. Amygdala increases, which triggers fight or flight stress hormones responses, which leaves the immune system exposed to pathogens. Stress goes from the logical thinking of the neocortex to the limbic system, emotional, so people can't think clearly. Hippocampus in the brain decreases, causing brain fog and lack of focus/memory, so people can't connect the dots. Meanwhile, so you can't think clearly and are in survival mode, you let people take swabs from up your nose, bruising the amygdala, triggering your cortisol levels and possibly planting synthetic morgellons into your brain. Pharaohs implemented this when chem became corrupted. It is not a new trick. Continue other negative news campaigns to divert you away from what's really happening, such as passing laws through on the sly, like your children having the right to decide to take the injection whilst they get programmed at school, no longer parents' responsibility. Sick this is. Justify lockdowns so you can put up all your F1VEG technology towers and grids to start your smart cities without the majority of people of clocking on, putting RFID chips in each street lighting coordinate. The 5Z grid actually follows the geometrical pattern of the flower of life in its negative polarity. This is how you destroy a future telepathic nation, by infecting the whole grid with a disruptive blanket of artificial wave frequencies. Blame new variants as a result of justifying more draconian law of taking away people's rights and freedoms. The majority of people get tired and just comply, and so take Jabberwocky so they can go back to normal, not knowing they have consented to an AI mind infiltration attack through the graphene oxide. When the full 5Z activates, you'll be constantly tracked and analyzed in body for any health problems, not to mention controlled through 60 GHz MM5Z waves. They can kill you by radiation poisoning and target where these waves will go, as you have now been tagged. Same as how HARP focuses energy to create man-made disasters at desired locations, as recorded by Demeter. If you have taken the V, you can purge the heavy metals with ivermectin and zinc. Dandelion/white pine tea for spike proteins. Other alternatives: HYDR0, Zycloquine, zeolite liquid crystal and fulvic acid. Now with a hive mind in place, they control the population. The heavy metals and nonits cause infertility problems amongst the population, so our generations die out. You now have a neurotic world filled with terrified parents that are scared of the outside world. Kids now brought up on technology, programming subconscious minds until the age of 7 like a sponge. They don't know any different, as this codes their behaviors and ideas about the world, which transfers directly through to adulthood. With death and illness becoming a common theme programmed through the media, introduce robots into society as they can't be infected. It makes lives easier. Chuck this in with the global reset, economy wrecked from lockdowns, and a fear to go outside, and you get a fourth industrial revolution where humans become lazy and just want technology to do it all. Eliminate the desire to do anything outside of the house. Kids look to the outside world and go, nothing interesting. Creativity up until this point, right brain, heavily suppressed. Now that they have their grid systems, malevolent energy devices, genetic alteration substances, draconian law, and a global addiction problem to technological devices, now they release the metaverse where you can do anything. This is the biggest sales tactic in human history. The next step is the AI chip and the mark of the beast 666. 666 is the Kabbalah means the lower mind. A lasting note. This all seems very negative, I get it. Here's the thing. If we choose the natural ascension path via the heart, we will have the internet of all things organically inside of us. When this negativity passes, which it will do, as long as we stand our ground, we will transition into becoming a fully telepathic world again. The metaverse is the fake ascension, soul trapping you into another artificial matrix. We are returning back to the times of Atlantis once again to make a different choice so that our civilization doesn't repeat the same negative pattern and follows the same karmic loop as of old. Let's not make the same mistake again. Next I will be talking the psychic abilities, anti-gravity, and other powers we had in Atlantis before things took a turn for the worst. This is what we will regain if we follow the light path. Zuck, you are truly the mark of the beast. By Jamie Phillips.
Okay, folks. Another thing that you're not even aware of, and that's the archons, and the first documented scriptures of the archons go back to about 2100 BC. But unfortunately, they've been wiped clean from the history books because they are very, very sleuth-like, kind of like robbers in the night, like a super ninja. So you don't even hear about the archons. And there was finally some clay containers in Egypt, buried very deep below the earth. Back in 1947, and there was 13 katas, which was 50 texts, that finally give some illumination upon or about the archons. And that's a whole other kettle of fish. So there's a real simple fix to this. Like, people think the vaccine is bad. Well, the vaccine will keep you alive if you get the virus. And after that, you can use Invectin, which is, I'm not a doctor, first. I want to make that clear. So get doctor's advice. But the Invectin for humans, not the veterinarian version, but the Invectin for humans with zinc. You have to get a prescription in the right amounts, pursuant pursuant to your body weight, and various other health things got to be taken into account for. That will clear all the heavy metals out of the body. And the dandelion tea and white pine, or dandelion and white pine tea, will help deal with the spike proteins. Because you got to remember, the virus binds with a spike protein, and the virus vaccine, or the vaccine for the virus, has a different vaccine that's engineered differently, but there is a spike protein there as well. So in order to deal with that, dandelion, just look it up, because dandelion in an infusion with pine needles to make tea, but if you use the stalk of the dandelion, it's got to be done differently. So understand that. But the real point I want to make here is that if you're looking for divine intervention, understand you have the key to divinity within your very own self. And it's within you. You have to look inward. There's nothing, by going outward, what you seek you will not find. What you seek is inward. And just a simple little thing, like a couple times a day, sending love, peace, and harmony to all beings, love, peace, and harmony to all human beings on this planet, as I explained, has a ripple effect. Your thoughts, your words, your actions have a ripple effect. And so I go back to the find by Nazim. I found the energy particle Planck. And Planck constant is finally a way to measure quantum fluctuation. So this is the first time in the history of our time where we've actually made a correlation between science and spirituality. Now, if you understand how those energy fields work, then you'll understand, like in the video, they spoke about the trek to Mecca and the black rock and turning the wheel in a reverse manner, counterclockwise. What that religion does not understand, by that act in that rotational movement counterclockwise, creates a negative vortex toroidal energy field, which feeds into the negative energy, into the black hole of the negative energy of the negativity that's in control. That's why it's a very it's complicated, but it's quite simple at the same time. Once you wrap your head around it. So Nazim made a wonderful discovery and actually can prove how Planck constant is first density consciousness. So if you understand through the chakras and the different densities, like a rock has a different density. It's aware consciousness. And to give you another example, David R. Hawkins, Harvard professor, had a very rudimentary and crude way of measuring consciousness. But now we've found, and it's a matter of time for science to find that, but a lot of technology that could serve man in a way that's beneficial to our overall well-being and quality of life has been suppressed for many thousands of years, and you just don't realize it. So this is a time to take control of your destiny now. So just during the day, just send love, peace, and harmony to all human beings on this planet. Send love, peace, and harmony to all beings on this planet. Send love, peace, and harmony to all beings on this planet. And so it is. And so it is. People, stay safe, be good, and remember, there's more to come. But listen, you got to get active. You got to get active. No violence. You don't need, violence is not necessary. Okay? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. And I'm going to tell you another thing. Religion's a whole other kettle of fish we haven't even gotten into. And the Catholic Church is sucking at your soul in a different way. You just don't get it. I just explained the Muslim, the Mecca trek, how they've been convinced. And, you know, Muslim, what, found about 1350 AD? Or that was the Arabic language. But anyways, nonetheless. To give you another example, if you live in England, there was a guy in the late 1800s, I think he lived to about 1947, Edward Alistair Crowley. And there was another movement. There was a movement to create an illusion to deceive the people, to feed the energy vortex of negative energy, which creates the illusion to entrap you. It's just like a box and a box and a box and a box, and you don't know it. You're frustrated, you know something's not right, and I'm explaining why it's not right. There's a lot more to this, but just keep it simple for now. Understand, the Agartha crystals, which are monosonic silicate crystals. Some people may think that there's only a few places, but understand that it's everywhere around the world, very deep below the surface of the planet, but it is there, and it is active, so we need to activate it. So send love, peace, and harmony to all beings on this planet, and so it is, and so it is. Love and peace to everyone. Take care, all the best, and watch for some more. We got more stuff coming to you, but take action. You've got the free will to do nothing, and that's okay. But if you want what is your divine right to have, get active, but in love, peace, and harmony. That's how you do it. Take care, folks. Love you all.